Welcome to another episode of Red Lotus Life. As always, I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Sarah Elizabeth
Mm.
Hoffman. How are you?
I'm good. How are you this morning?
I am tired. Like, I am tired. I am just like, it is funny. It's funny how being a parent, I think here's the thing, being a parent's hard, right? I mean, it
Mhm.
just is. I am one of those people that like, it's hard. But then I feel like I think when my kids were little, I always thought, okay, once they get out and they kind of fly in the nest and everything like that, that they're good. They have to, that maybe I didn't have to take care of them so much. And I'm not saying I do, but like that maternal instinct, like that, like you still worry. That's what I'm trying to say. Like you still worry. I don't think it's that whole cliche of it doesn't matter how old your children are, you still worry about them.
Oh, of course. I think that's just part of being a parent, generally speaking. Well, we never grow out of that.
I know. And so it's funny because like I'm tired. I had a hard time sleeping last night. I didn't get to bed till pretty late,
Mhm.
but also just going, I woke up this morning going, this reminds me of like when they were little and having to keep getting up with them and stuff like that. And so I was kind of laughing at myself this morning going, yeah, I think being a parent, I've always thought being a parent is one of the hardest things in the world, right? Like I
Mhm.
really do. There's so much responsibility and everything with it. Um, but also it's this whole, as we've been preparing for everything for this new series, I have
Mhm.
been in such deep contemplation about all of it because the work we do is generational. Right. So I sit here and I go, oh, okay. So how is all of this like factored into the wealth in all areas of life that's going to be trickling down to the generations after me?
Yeah. How's it going to be trickling down to the generations after you? And also, what is sort of like the transformation that we're seeing within ourselves, as well as what's happening with those other generations in the here and now as we do this work? It's really a fascinating contemplation.
It is. It's just this work is so deep, it's so wide, and it's like I don't want to say I get lost in the contemplation, but I do definitely like we've been doing this work long enough and on such a consistent basis that I can literally see when the shifts start to affect my children,
Hmm.
even as adults. And so it's like yeah, it's just fascinating to me. Anyway, and then sometimes it keeps me up at night.
Right. Right. And then, and other times for me, it's the contemplation. You're talking about getting lost in the contemplation. For me, like that's really kind of like the sweet spot. That's where we have all of the aha moments. That's where, the guidance drops in, where we're able to actually pinpoint where the shift actually occurred. And now, what direction do we want to go now as far as, like, are we using discernment? Are we able to receive? What are we available for? Um, Sometimes it's even practicing extreme patience, and I think you probably can resonate with that.
It is. Well, and here's what's cool. All right, so just to let everybody know, we're starting a new series in Say Yes to Soul, and we're going into this whole like the five bodies. We got physical, mental, emotional, energetic, and spiritual bodies that we work with as spiral practitioners and with the spiral modality. And so we're very much about wealth consciousness here in the year of the fire horse and everything else. We're like, oh man, like this, let's let's really dive into wealth consciousness. And so we've been doing that. We've been integrating all of that and Say Yes to Soul, lunar journeys, all the things. And now it's like, oh, I'm so excited. We're getting ready to start this series and Say Yes to Soul, starting with the physical body.
Hmm.
And everything as we're preparing for this, because we are in such deep contemplation with all of it, I'm literally seeing everything coming up. Like I can feel my physical body communicating with me. I can tell exactly like what is my capacity to hold as far as wealth goes in all areas of my life.
Hmm.
And I'm maxed out. That's why I'm so excited because I'm maxed out right now.
Yeah. It's it's really interesting because when we think about those places where we may be feeling maxed out completely and then feel into the conversation that we've been having even over the last couple of episodes. It's kind of like when we are able to come back to the breath, come back to that pause, come back to that place of contemplation, and we start to realize where those areas are that have just been just below the surface, and in some ways, some cases like buried beneath the surface in the and being held in the physical body where we don't have the capacity. We don't have the capacity to hold. We don't have the capacity to receive. And something that I'm noticing is that we've been doing this work so long, and most of the things that I would attribute to where I am now are have always been around developing and holding strong boundaries, taking my power back, sovereignty, being in my sovereignty. But when we started to really feel into the physical body and the capacity to not only receive, well, generate, make money, or receive wealth in any aspect in all five bodies, right? It's like, holy moly, there's this whole plethora, like this whole Pandora's box that has all of a sudden been opened that we didn't realize was there. And it's like all of a sudden we can see it everywhere, and not only in ourselves, but in others. It's just wow.
I know. It's literally mind blowing. I was gonna say that. Like it's literally mind blowing because it is like a Pandora's box with it. And the way that I love how you said that these things could be buried, right? Because we do
Mhm.
this work. We do this work. I thought, okay, this is gonna easy breezy, even with the physical body, cool. Yeah, we'll probably lose some pounds, like that's a
Right.
side effect of when we work with the physical body and the spiral modality, right? And I thought, okay, yeah, not a big deal. But then it's like you know where your capacity to hold wealth is when the nervous system is spiked, right? When the nervous system is unregulated. It takes something happening, and then that's when you realize, oh, here's the program that's running in the background. Oh, okay. Like you start to see like your patterns, you see your thoughts, you see like all the things. And since we've been preparing for the physical body first, I'm like, oh man, like I am tight, I am this, I'm that. I can literally feel like I was telling you and Val in the chat that we have together, like
Hmm.
my psoas muscles are like I'm doing everything I can right now to get those to release. And they're directly related to the nervous system, the root chakra, like all the things that I'm like, oh man. And it's because, there's been stuff like we all have trials and tribulations. We all have challenges. We all have things we're overcoming. There's these unexpected events that happen, right? And
Hmm.
so it's not like there's anything new that's even happening. It's just I'm so hyper aware of all of it because we're preparing for this that
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wow, yeah, I'm at max capacity right now. And that's why I'm
Hmm.
super excited to go into this clear for the physical body.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Definitely join us if you have any interest in this topic whatsoever. If it's something that you've been working on, um, definitely join us and Say Us to Soul because it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. We have the group, we have the group container. So we all get to journey together, and it just creates this really beautiful safety contain, a safe container where we can really explore and dive into all of these aspects.
Hmm.
Um, it's interesting that you brought up the psoas muscle. I've actually been really aware of mine as well,
Ah.
especially in the last couple of days. And so what I wanted to share about that is I think that as we continue to dive a little bit deeper and we have more awarenesses come to the surface, like our bodies, the physical body is actually preparing because we've been doing this work for so long. Our bodies actually energetically begin to prepare to release. And so all of this is coming up. We're feeling it in the muscles, feeling it in the nervous system, feeling it in the bones. And that psoas is also right there connected to like your womb space where you would be holding any kind of wounds around. Like we know that money and sex and love all have a connection, right? And so like
Yep.
the body is really getting prepared to release. And
Yeah.
so
Yep.
that's kind
Yep.
of what I've been feeling. It's like, oh, yes, we can just surrender into it. We can let it go.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know.
fascinating that you've been feeling it too. I mean, not surprised. Like not
Right.
surprised, but always fascinated. Um, yeah, okay. So today we're going to be talking about how wealth is not just a mindset. We're going to take what we talked about a few episodes ago and go deeper into this about how wealth isn't just a mindset. It's not only in the mental body, and it actually is in all five bodies. So that's what we're diving into, right? Of holding wealth, not just generating it, but holding wealth in all five bodies with a focus on the actual physical body, because the physical body is the most dense, but it also has to feel safe in order to be able to hold wealth, like to even to hold more. Let me put it that way. So when we're talking about capacity and everything like that, we can be thinking those thoughts, the positive affirmations, like all the things all day long, but it's not until our actual physical body and the physical plane, our surroundings, our environment, everything that our life basically actually feels safe to hold more. And that is the thing that people never, I'm going to say never. It's like it's almost like a last resort that they think about the physical body. So this is really, really cool. Um, I wanted to talk about today about, so I want to ask you a few questions here. Well, I guess I'll just say what we're going to talk about because even with that concept, we're going a little deeper because today it's going to be about how it's not resisting wealth, it's resisting what it believes wealth will cost. Okay,
Hmm.
so here's an example. You and I have been talking quite a bit before we even hit record on this, but I wanted to share something that I experienced as I was preparing for this that I went, okay, what's a personal story that I can share that will be this concept? I have always been career oriented. I mean, my first job was at 13. I've always enjoyed working. I mean, I just really like it. Everything that I've ever done, I have been able, it's easy for me to make my way up into management positions. Even like in high school, I had three jobs. I was in management positions in all of those three jobs. Um, it's easy. I find it fun. It's something that it comes really um, if I were to look back, right? Because I had to look back and go, okay, so what was it before trauma, right? Before some trauma and some imprints and stuff happened, some limiting beliefs, and different programming started to happen, some conditioning. It was easy for me. It always has been.
Hmm.
But then I finally figured out the point. Well, it'll be interesting to like see what this clear says because we can literally go to the actual imprint. But I started thinking about when did that change?
Hmm.
So I actually got hired for a job. I was actually really excited about it. It was a total career change, like industry change. I used to be in hospitality, restaurant management, that type of thing. And then I ended up applying for this other job. It was more um, logistics, warehouse, that type of thing, like that, like warehouse orders, that type of thing for distribution for one of the largest companies in the world. I immediately got a management position. They didn't have a management position open. So they hired me and they're like, we really want to put you in a management position, but this is the only position we have open. And so it was more entry level. And I was like, that's okay. Like, I don't mind. Am I going to be thought of for management later or a higher position, right? When that opens, will I be considered? And they said yes. So I go, and they did say it's probably going to be 6 months to a year though. And I was like, that's fine. I had just had a baby, like my youngest. And so I was like, that's fine. I'm okay just kind of chilling for a minute and just
Hmm.
doing entry level stuff. So I was okay with that. Well, the position opens up and I interview for it and I get it. And it's a position in like data entry, mainframe programming, like that type of thing, like something totally different, totally different than what I've ever done before. But I had the skills. I had the skills. I had the leadership. I had all these things. I end
Hmm.
up getting that. This is where the imprint happened. So I end up getting it, no problem. I knew this. I end up getting accused of sleeping with people to get that because it was unheard of that in that company that somebody with no experience would get a position like that. But nobody there actually even knew that I had been hired for something like that. Like I literally got hired for that, but it didn't matter because it didn't matter. Like for whatever reason, it didn't matter at all. The people spread throughout the company. That's what ended up happening, right? So here's what happened because of that. Because not only did that happen, but also in the relationship I was in, there was jealousy that came up, and then I got accused at home as well. So not only did I get accused at the workplace, but then I also got accused at um, at home in this relationship. So what happened after that? I worked there for 12 more years, zero promotion. And not because not because I didn't have the skills, it was because I never actually went after another promotion. I didn't want it. I had zero interest in it. I
Hmm.
was like, cool, I'm happy here. And it was mid-level. It wasn't even like I'd had higher positions before. Like now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I had had higher positions. So it was interesting that I was satisfied. Like I was like, I'm cool. It wasn't even a thought. It was so unconscious for me to go, I don't want more. Like I literally was like, I'm satisfied here, even though prior to that, I went for the top every single time. And I got the top every single time. Easily,
Mm.
easily, I got the job every single time. Not saying that I have like any more skills than anyone else. I'm just saying I didn't have a limiting belief that I couldn't. And
Right.
so I always thought if I work hard and see, this is limiting belief in that, but which is totally different. We're not, but I'm going to say for anyone who might resonate, it's like I thought if I do things in a certain way, then I will be like, I'm gonna make my way up the ladder, right? That type of thing.
Hmm.
I will receive more if I'm always working on becoming more and developing myself and developing my skills and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
But I didn't at that company. And I haven't since. I mean, like I do, like I have the actions and everything, but before that, like everything has changed. The way I think about everything has changed. Because before that, it was like not even a thing. I just went, whatever. It wasn't thought about, it wasn't anything. And now, since that time, no, I don't want to be seen. It's the visibility,
Mm.
it's
Hmm.
the visibility of well, people thought this. And so, yeah, so that is the deep, deep, buried unconscious belief that I went, wow, that's crazy. Like I've had other jobs since then. I've climbed corporate ladders since then, but I've never actually like totally went for it like I did before.
Okay, this is fascinating. I have some questions for you. All right, so,
Okay.
so this is the perfect example of unconscious self-sabotage, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're unconsciously self-sabotaging, I wonder how this shows up for you because you're like, okay, I've always known that, like, I know I can do it. It's never been an issue before. Like, how is that showing up for you now? And it also makes me feel feel into like patterns around, and we've been talking about this to some extent, patterns around urgency or strategy or um, like changing things up, those kinds of things. Where do you feel it in your body? And can you see the pattern showing up now?
Hmm. Where I can feel in my body is pressure in the head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, well, what's the underlying thing there? Solar plexus shrink, right?
Mm-hmm.
Solar plexus.
Yeah.
So the pressure, because we do talk about this, right? With wealth, consciousness, and being able to hold, if we're not at like if we're already maxed out our capacity, now there's this like pressure that's happening. So that's what's going on. And the
Mm-hmm.
pattern here is, doing this work, it's kind of almost even like what I was just sharing with you. It's almost like they're getting lost in contemplation and getting lost in connecting the dots and how does this affect everybody else? And like yeah, there's some unconscious thoughts here around like, I wish I had the freedom to just do the things, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
which I do. But do I really feel that way? Because I say that.
Right.
What do you see? You know me well enough. I'm like, what do you see whenever I say that? Because that was fascinating for me to go, wow, okay, that was a total example. 12 years I stayed in that middle position, not even going after something else, like not even thinking about it. Like like higher management positions would open up. And
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been good.
Hmm. I have a question about the pressure because this is something that I've been contemplating, and we'll come back around to what you were just asking me. But the pressure, when you feel the pressure, because I notice a difference in pressure that is actually creating change as compared to the pressure that is coming with the unconscious sabotage or a feeling of stress. And we can have that feeling of stress or like a fracture point or a stress point where we're either creating more stress or we're actually creating a shift that's going to create change. So I'm curious to
Hmm.
know if you can distinguish between that.
Okay, I
Mm.
can. I can
Okay.
see it. Okay.
Okay.
So in that situation, right?
Mhm,
I'm going to
mhm,
bring that situation around. I was in a really hard job, high stress, high
mhm,
stress job, um, was not paid what it was worth. None of us were in that department and that anything. And had skills galore. All of us could code. I mean, it was like, yeah, skills galore with everything. But we were literally locked away too. We were also hidden in a room where we had to use our fingerprint to get in and stuff
mhm,
like that. And so it was like this, they made it seem high importance or whatever. The actual environment, so like let's talk about the pattern, right? And the pressure,
mhm,
high stress and being so involved in the work that I didn't see that these higher management positions that came up, I didn't even think about going after them because I put that limiting belief on myself. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want that accusation to happen again because people didn't know my freaking resume, right? Especially after 12 years. Let's talk about that too. Like, right? Okay,
mhm,
well, I never actually went after anything more. And so it builds, wait, what am I trying to say here? Let's see the pattern. Oh, okay. So those positions, way easier. Not a ton of stress. All positions have stress. All jobs have stress, right? But they were way easier because they were more like project manager type things. You know what I mean? Like they were such a high position that it was more like a delegation type thing.
mhm,
And I was one of the ones that got delegated onto. So I was in the high pressure all the time. But if I would have gone for the higher positions, which I was totally qualified for, that would have brought more money. It would have brought more happiness. It would have brought more health because I wouldn't have had the stress. I ended up leaving the company actually because of the stress and everything, where I could have just been it was more ease and flow. Let me put it that way. More ease and flow. And so now the pattern here, if I were to look at that, that is actually what happens.
Yeah.
I get right in there and I'm just doing the work and I'm doing the thing and I don't stop till I'm finished, all the things, creating that pressure when there could I'm sure there's a ton of other ways I could do things that is easier, more ease and flow that would actually also generate more money and also like in the career part, it would generate more money and I would be able to hold it. But I don't know how to hold it because my nervous system is like, nope, you can't be seen. Like you can't, you got head down, you got to work.
Well, and that's the thing. That's what I was going to say. Okay, so this did bring it back around to you answering the question that you asked me. So I love that. So then bringing it back around again to that urgency, the stress of like having to go, 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 produce more, produce more, produce more, and staying in that sort of like cog in the wheel, feeling like you're not doing enough or you're not good enough unless head down, not visible, doing, 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 producing, producing, producing. So then what do you do in order to create the shift into the stress point that is not just creating stress and urgency, but instead the stress point that is going, and I'm honing in on this because we've been journeying with that dissatisfaction gene key. And I want you to feel the difference. So the pressure and the stress that gets created that actually creates a different outcome and a different choice, the shift in action or where the action is directed versus the stress that is urgent, that is not creating wealth, right? It's kind of like, all right, going back to not getting stuck in the contemplation where it's a looping and creating more pressure, but where's the contemplation that's going to create a different outcome? If all of that just made sense, I know it's a mouthful.
I know. I'm like, so
I'm
what's the
contemplating.
question?
The question is, how do you know the difference? How do you know the difference between the pressure that you're feeling that creates more stress or the pressure that you're feeling that's going to actually create a different outcome
Okay, so how do I know the difference, like in this situation?
so that you're not
Yeah.
self-sabotaging?
Um, it's it's hard to explain. This is it, so that gene key, yeah, definitely hard to explain because and I can only say it's like when you're just done. Like you're just done and I'm not going to live this way anymore. And so what happened instead of me going like I had invested 12 years in this company. And instead of making the choice to go for a higher management position, which I was totally qualified for and continuing to invest or even transferring in it was one of the largest companies in the world. I had lots of options. And what did I do? I quit the company. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. I quit the company, started all over somewhere else.
Mm,
And it comes back to the limiting belief of how what happened, right? What happened, the accusations and everything,
yeah,
which also it goes super deep because if we talk about it, it goes back to even what I said about, yeah, I've always felt like I have to earn what, yeah, as long as I'm like doing the thing, like I'm gonna make it.
right.
I'm gonna earn more, I'm gonna get higher up in the, I'm gonna get promoted, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. That you talked about producing, we literally, that's how they would gauge our value to the company is
Right.
it was called production.
Hmm.
And we had to produce so much every single day. They literally called it production. And we had to produce so much production every single day.
Okay.
And so I'm like, oh, so many layers.
So many layers because again, going back to what you were asking me, you tell me because this is what I see happen every single day. This is what I see happen every single day. You feel like, and also like there's a sweet spot too because you are a generator. And
Yeah,
so it's
I know.
it's natural for you. But this is when you have to be really careful because if you don't learn to come back to that pause and that rest and that um, having the capacity to hold really and be still, right?
Mhm.
Then end up back in that production and not being seen because you're just producing, producing, producing.
Yes, and that actually is the difference, right? It's
Yeah,
when the pressure of whether it's the self-sabotage or the breakthrough
right. Hmm.
is that. And it's like which one is healthy, right?
Hmm.
Because what I could have done was probably found something really great that I loved in this company that has 100 trillion positions,
Hmm.
or whatever. And so it's just that because so that is a pure example of how deep the unconscious limiting beliefs around wealth, um, wealth, abundance, prosperity, health, all the things, right? How
Hmm.
deep that can actually be because that, I mean, I don't even, when I was probably clear back, when was that? I said I had just had my baby, right? My
Yeah.
youngest. That was in 2001.
Are you ready for that pattern to shift?
Yeah. So that's why I'm so excited for this, for what we're doing in Say Yes to Soul.
Yeah.
So, um, did you have anything else you wanted to ask me? Or because I actually have a question for you about this.
Okay, you can go ahead and ask.
Okay. All right. So how do you know when the body doesn't feel safe? Like what
I
receiving more?
Okay, so it's really interesting because I was having a specific example that I've actually journeyed with recently because I've been feeling the same I have been feeling the pressure of expansion, as we continue to expand ourselves here at Red Lotus Life and continue to do the work that we're doing. I actually felt myself in a period of like where you quit. So this is kind of the difference where you quit the position after years and years and years instead of finding something else that you could do or liked better or would have provided more wealth in all ways. I also felt that recently and then felt the stretch through the expansion. And it did, and we've even touched upon this on another episode. It's it's when self-sabotage is happening when you start questioning, do I want to do this anymore? Like I don't want to like why am I even doing this? What's the point? What uh, like you were saying like you just quit, right? And so this is how I know that it's not just stress from urgency or doing or production. It is stress from expansion when the pressure becomes so great and you do feel it. I feel it from the root in the solar plexus, really in the whole body, and it does move all the way through to like the third eye and the crown. But that pressure becomes so great that you have no choice but to do something different. There is no choice but to do something different. And if you can be with that long enough to stretch through to the other side of the expansion, then you have created exactly what you were desiring to create. And the wealth of opportunity is now right there in your lap. So I think that answers your question.
It totally does. And so the pressure here in my head, right? Because you actually have gene key 58, right? Gene key
It's
58.
yeah.
Yeah, what we've been talking about with the dissatisfaction. This is a whole lunar journeys thing.
Hmm.
Everyone in lunar journeys, you'll get it. Okay, so you have it. It goes from the root all the way up through your body, whatever, right? And so, and we all have it, but you literally journey with it. It's your
Hmm.
purpose. It's your purpose, even. And so it's funny because now it's like, oh, okay, you asked me where it was. Yeah, it's here in the head. So it's
Hmm.
getting ready to do the breakthrough, or it's getting ready to self-sabotage, right?
Exactly. Yes, there's that pivotal moment, that pivotal
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
So
calling the stress point or the fracture point.
okay. So anyway, this is super cool. I'm really excited to like dive into this for and say yes to soul. I'm like super excited to see what the clear is going to be for all of us and like what actually is the imprint here because who knows if that's going to be that's my conscious imprint, but who knows what's going to be the unconscious one, right? So it's
Mhm,
like that's
mhm.
just an example of this work. It's so cool. I love it. Cool. All right. Is there anything else you wanted to share here? Are we pretty good on this one?
I think we're good.
Okay. All right. So we're excited. Everyone, please, if you're into wealth consciousness, you'd like to experience more wealth, abundance, prosperity in all areas of your life, we invite you to join us and Say Yes to Soul. We have a promo code Say Yes that you can get additional savings. I can't remember right now what the additional savings are, but we're going to be starting with the physical body. We are clearing the limiting beliefs that are keeping wealth from feeling safe to hold in the physical
Mhm,
body and in the physical plane. So
mhm.
it's going to be amazing and a really cool side effect for those of you who are all about your health and everything else. Side effect when we do work with the physical body is, shedding and losing some weight and stuff like that and getting healthier in that way too. So, and all like the physical plane, right? Like I'm already feeling like I need to go through my house and I
Yeah,
need to get rid of like you just start to like get rid
shed.
of and shed things that no longer serve or
Mhm,
don't have a purpose or bring value into your life. So,
mhm.
yeah, anything else you wanted to share?
Just please do like, subscribe, and share. We would really appreciate it. And thank you so much for joining us and being with us.
Mhm. Yeah, and we'd love to keep the conversation going. So let us know. How are you feeling? Did you resonate? Was there anything here that you were like, oh, yeah,
Mhm,
totally get that? All right, we'll see you next time. Okay,
mhm.
bye.
Bye.
And live your life today.